there are so many people that just need to come back home to center in some way. And really, what we're all looking for is we want to have alchemy in ourselves so we can live life free. I mean, it's so cool that the product name is Feel Free. Everyone wants freedom mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, financially. Do you have a recipe for that? This is why I love learning on podcasts. This is why I love podcasting, because so much value from somebody who's been through unique thresholds in their life. So is there a recipe on how you've lived your life free, created Feel Free? Like, is that even something that exists, or is that always unique to the person?
Well, I think for me, and I think, I've talked to other people that it's about doing something like this, doing something that, is contributing to society, not just to yourself. And that can be in many different forms. That's where true happiness lies. That's, and you feel like that you're fulfilled to the point that you're being utilized to the maximum amount, that, you're using all your potential. That is what I figured out is where, my happiness comes from. And not only but utilize towards something that actually is, doing good in the world. And CHEK had an interesting, one of the first experiences that he had with it. He said, what I see this as, and he uses it as practice with people, is that, you have people that have been in a certain state so long that they don't know what feeling right is.
They don't know what a center actually is.
They don't know what a center is, because they're so far out of it. And it's been since maybe they were a baby that they actually were centered. And he said, I give this to them to quickly help them understand this is what you can feel like all the time. And it's not just this, but now that you understand what the goal is and you got a taste of it, now let's go put the work in to get that 24/7, or to get it as much as you can. And he said, that's a very powerful tool, because he said, until someone can experience it, it's hard to get them to put the work into plus they don't even know what they're going after.
Yeah. They don't have that North Star.
Yeah. And he said, they're just kind of floundering around, and they immediately go back to what they were doing before once they leave treatment.
This is why people go to Tony Robbins, this workshop, that workshop, and then they get home, they don't integrate it, and then there's no embodiment. There's no true center, because they're not committed to the work.
So what he was saying is, it's not just about a plant medicine like this.
Yeah.
It's about also then doing, it's a journey to continue moving towards, what Siddhartha was doing, in his life, that enlightenment, ultimately, whatever that is for each person. But, what a wonderful journey, though, the process of getting there. And this is it's one of the tools to help you, especially for someone like that doesn't even know what that feels like or can be.
I feel like this Botanic Tonics and Feel Free is like your forgiveness process, and really your value, like kind of like making things right again in the world for what you've been through and the way you used to be. And it feels like that's what this is. It's a gift to the world, so you can help make things right.
It is, but there's still that piece of me, that I don't think will ever go away. My real motive was, because now alcohol was out of my life. I had a much better life, but it still didn't feel, exactly comfortable in my skin. And I was looking for something that would make me feel comfortable in my skin, but not have the negative effects that, alcohol started having as I consumed more and more of it. I was wanting something that wasn't inebriating or limiting. I was wanting something that was not only made me feel comfortable socially, but also was enhancing as far as a focusing ability. When I was in Southeast Asia, I lived there for a period of time. I was introduced to kratom, and had a interesting experience with that.
What do you mean by interesting?
Just trying the different types of kratom. I would spend a lot of time traveling out in the rural areas, like in Vietnam and stuff, places that most people would never go, and just talking to people and getting a better understanding of their lives, and trying these different plants, and it just a wonderful time. But it made me go back and remember the experience that I had in Vanuatu many, many years prior. And then I got the idea of taking the two plants and mixing them together, which, to date, no one else has done, not at least commercially. And that whole process, I'm a huge researcher. So when I get into something, I really like trying to find out all I can about it. I started studying, the history of these types of plants or substances, back thousands of years, and I discovered something that's, to me, is very interesting, in that you have canna in Africa, you have coca in Central and South America, you have kava in the Pacific Islands, you have kratom in Southeast Asia, and then you have alcohol in the Middle East, Europe, and China. All of these things, developed, independently. It's one thing that's fascinating to me. They're all K in starting, and they weren't cross-pollinated, different plants. The other interesting thing is that alcohol is the only one of them, in the way it's natively used, that's highly processed. And what I started realizing was that don't mess with Mother Nature. And alcohol is a wonderful substance for a lot of people, but it's also extremely physically hard on your body. And the reason for that is because it is highly processed, and it's, from a society standpoint, it's created a lot of problems. All of these other plants used in their native form, and that's how they use them. People in their 80s still consuming them, on a regular basis with no issues at all.
And you were talking about that last night, just the difference between the coca plant and cocaine, that processing that changes everything.
Yeah, I mean, people, you hear cocaine, they're like, ooh, bad, which I would agree with that. But you take the coca leaves, and you've got, people that are in their late 80s in Central and South America have been consuming their entire life, no problems at all. But you strip out the other alkaloids, the fiber, all the other things that are in that leaf to extract, an alkaloid or two that is cocaine, and you use solvents, basically gasoline, what they use. And that's a whole nother story.